Bonjour. Aujourd'hui, nous parlons du verbe faire. Today, we're going to talk about the verb faire. So, faire is a verb in French that's extremely useful. It means to make or to do, and it's an irregular verb, which means it doesn't follow a set pattern. Remember, we learned regular ER verbs and we knew what to do with them. We dropped the ER, we added on the ending that matches our subject. Here, faire is more like avoir or être that we've learned already that are irregular. You just have to memorize these conjugations, and there's not really a pattern to them. It's also used in many idioms or idiomatic expressions, and we'll talk about what that means in just a moment. But here are the conjugations in the present tense. You have je fais, tu fais, il, elle, and on fait. So notice that this one, fait, and this one, fait, sound just the same, just a spelling change for the il, elle, and on form. We have nous faisons, vous faites, and il and elle font. So here, faisons, this S makes more of a Z sound next to the O. Nous faisons, you're used to ONS endings with new verbs, but this part is a little strange. Vous faites, this one is just totally out there in left field. It's a little bit like vous êtes, where you have that TES ending. And then here, the il and elles font, this is like ils sont or ils ont. So this one is also somewhat familiar. So here is one way we could use the verb faire. We could say, qu'est-ce que tu fais maintenant? Qu'est-ce que tu fais maintenant? So here, remember we said that the verb faire means to make or to do. In this case, we would translate this more as to do. Qu'est-ce que tu fais maintenant? What are you doing right now? Or if you didn't have maintenant, now, maintenant is a really long word, it just means now. We could take that away. Qu'est-ce que tu fais? What are you doing? So here are some ideas of things that you might be doing just now. Je fais mes leçons de français. I'm doing my French lessons. J'écoute la musique. Maybe you're listening to music. That's not going to help you listen to what I'm saying, but maybe when you do your homework, you might listen to music. Je déjeune. Maybe you're eating lunch. I'm eating lunch. So notice that when I ask the question, what are you doing? You might have, I'm doing French lessons, for example, in your answer, but your verb might not be faire in your answer because it might not be, same as in English. What are you doing? You might be, oh, I'm doing my homework. Or you might say, I'm watching TV, and there's no do there in watching TV. So just pay attention to that idea. That tends to throw students off. But you can use any verb in response to the what are you doing type question. Okay, and then I mentioned that we use faire with idioms. And so what's an idiom? Here's an example of an idiom. You're pulling my leg. When you say to someone, you're pulling my leg, you don't actually mean that they are physically tugging on your leg. You mean that they are messing with you or joking with you. So these are words that these are words or phrases that we can't translate word for word from one language to another without getting confused. So the best way to do these is just to memorize what they mean and not think about the word for word direct translation. So here is the first one. We've got faire attention à. Faire attention à. So to pay attention to something. So je fais attention à mon fils. I pay attention to my son. If not, he might run around the house and uh, put toys everywhere. Who knows what he might get into. Les élèves ici font attention aux profs. The students here are paying attention to their professor or their teacher. Nous faisons attention quand nous conduisons. We pay attention when we're driving. In this case, we're watching out for deer. Faire la connaissance de. Faire la connaissance de just means to meet someone for the first time. So, je fais la connaissance de mes étudiants. I meet my students at the beginning of the semester. So anytime someone is getting introduced to someone else, faire la connaissance is a useful phrase. Faire les courses. Faire les courses. This specifically is shopping for groceries. So whether you're at the farmer's market or you're at Walmart or you're at Kroger, doesn't matter where you are. Faire les courses, if you're shopping for foods that you might eat later, faire les courses is how you would say that. Faire la cuisine. Faire la cuisine. So you already know that the word cuisine can be the kitchen. So in this case, faire la cuisine is a phrase that we use to mean cooking. So to cook. Ici, il fait la cuisine. He is cooking. Faire les devoirs. Faire les devoirs. Here, he's doing homework. And in French, the word for homework is always plural. So you'll always see les devoirs, whether it's one task or 10 that you need to accomplish. We call them les devoirs. Faire la lessive. Faire la lessive, to do laundry. Faire le marché. Faire le marché. So this is somewhat a synonym to faire les courses. I've heard people use faire le marché when they were shopping for food, whether they actually went to an open air market or they just were in a grocery store. In my case, I'm thinking marché, and so I'm thinking outdoors, farmers market type thing. But you might come across people using that just generally for grocery shopping as well. Faire le ménage. Faire le ménage. So don't forget this accent here. Basically, this is referring to any types of household chores. Specifically, I think of this as things that are inside the home, so dusting, vacuuming, mopping, sweeping, cleaning in general. So basically, if you needed to say that you needed to do chores or clean up the house, faire le ménage is sort of a umbrella term that would encompass all those things that you might be doing. Faire une promenade. Faire une promenade. Elle fait une promenade avec son chien. She's taking a walk with her dog. Faire la queue. Faire la queue. Les étudiants ou les élèves font la queue. So here the students are standing in line. If you're familiar with British English, they use the word queue to talk about standing in line, making a line somewhere. So that's where this comes from. Faire un tour en voiture. Faire un tour en voiture. If you're familiar with the Disney movie Cars, here's Sally and Lightning McQueen going for a drive. So it's rather a long phrase in French, but faire un tour en voiture would be to take a drive. And I don't know if any of you all do that. My parents do, but they're old. Faire la vaisselle. Faire la vaisselle, to do dishes. Faire un voyage. Faire un voyage. So it's to take a trip. A voyage is a synonym for a trip in English, although we don't use it probably too much. You may have heard people say bon voyage. I feel like this comes up in cartoons or different things on TV. So bon voyage is just the phrase we would use to tell someone to have a good trip in French. Faire du jogging. Here's a word phrase borrowed from English. Faire du jogging. Faire du ski, another familiar one. So you see that there are also some expressions with faire that relate to sports and activities. Faire du shopping, another one borrowed from English. So here I would think of this as anything shopping for clothes, shoes, TV, any types of things that are not food related. I would think of maybe with more faire du shopping. Et c'est tout, that's all. So I hope you've learned a little bit about the verb faire. Please let me know if you have any questions. Have a great day.